Today on Walk Through Texas History, we're on State 105 in Montgomery. Not only will we visit an old cemetery, but it's the site of another historic first here in Texas. Join me, shall you? Here's the grounds for the old Montgomery Cemetery, dated 1838. It's actually the grounds for what is believed to be the very first Methodist church here in Texas. It still exists just down the road, but this spot was the location of the original log cabin and then the second church. Let's take a look inside the cemetery and the few historic markers around. As I stated, this is the old Methodist churchyard, and it gives you a little historic reference to it. The very first person to be buried here, to my knowledge, was in 1838. However, this was a church for many years. In 1908, it was relocated just down the road a bit, and it's still in existence. Quite a few unmarked graves, it states. Veterans of the War of 1812, the War of Independence, Mexican-American War, and Civil War have been buried here. We'll take a look at some of the old headstones as we go inside right now. Here's one of the older headstones of the Price family. Amanda Price, James Price Jr., and their mother are all buried here. They all died around the same time in 1859. I believe it was probably from yellow fever. And they're all buried right here. Right behind them, or this headstone, are several older headstones that are right here together on this concrete pylon. 1878, 1857, 1875, a lot of smaller markers, footstones. To the left is 1854. He was 30 years old, from Franklin County, New York. It's very hard to read the headstone on this one. I just want to see it because the gate that's around it. The headstone itself, it's an old headstone. It is very hard to read. I got close and could not. This is the headstone for Mary V, daughter of M.E. and M.A. Fralick. She looks like she was not even 2 years old when she died. To the left is a large, they're probably buried somewhere right there, for James Alexander McCowan and his wife Nancy McCowan. And they developed the present town of Montgomery and gave the land for the Methodist Church here, which was located on this particular property in 1838, 2 years after Texas became its own country. Here's another very old headstone. Looks like the Martin family. And there was a large tree right here. Unfortunately, it looked like it died and was cut down a number of years ago. But they've got a private fence around their plot as well. Here's the headstone for Alfred Morris. He died in 1866. He fought in the Civil War and the Mexican-American War, as the headstone above him states. Lieutenant Company 8th Texas Cavalry, Company K 8th Texas Cavalry. I believe that's the Terry's Texas Rangers. I've seen quite a few of those lately. He was also in the Mexican-American War and Private First Texas Volunteer. And right next to his headstone is his wife, Matilda Morris, and it looks like they're probably their daughter, Maddie L. Green. It may have been their granddaughter. Here's a great marker here, the side of the First Methodist Church here in Texas, organized by Littleton Fowler in 1838. Isaac Strickland is the pastor, and then gives you some people that were buried here, maybe unmarked graves. The pioneer circuit riders who served this church. And Moses' spear. And here's one you don't see a lot in Texas. Owen Shannon, he fought in the Revolutionary War, is buried here. He was a citizen of Texas, of course. I don't have his dates of birth and death, but he was definitely a Revolutionary War veteran, and I definitely had to take a moment to recognize him. Very few and far between of those here in the state of Texas that are buried here. This one is right up next to the fence, next to 105. It's the centennial marker for William S. Taylor, San Jacinto veteran. He died on February 2nd, 1869, so he got to live a pretty good life. He is also buried here. Here's another old headstone, Mary Lewis, wife of E.A. Linton, buried here in 1871. Here's two more old headstones, 1865, 1861. William A. Minnow, it looks like, and Dr. E.J. Feller are buried here. There's a couple more headstones. Lucian, son of Jane and Isaac, who was not even 10. And then looks like Jane, his mother's buried here. The top of her marker looks like it's fallen off right beside her there. Unfortunately, no place to repair it or place to put it back at this point. So this is the grave of Ruben Jonathan Palmer, and as it says on the historical marker, he was born in Appomattox County, Virginia. Probably know that from the Civil War, Appomattox Courthouse. And he was a lawyer, served in the legislature for the state of Texas and the Secession Convention of 1861. Married Frances Winifred, the daughter of Robert G. and Agnes Wood Branch. And he is buried here in this little family plot of his and his wife. Just a few more. Here is the Reverend I Chilton. It's a monument in memory of him. He was buried here, but don't know exactly where. And right behind him is Carrie Lipscomb, who was 32 years old when she passed away. It's a beautiful headstone. You just don't see that very often anymore. It's in great shape for the fact it's 160 years old. So just attached to the cemetery is a little section that you have to go quite a bit of ways around to get to it. It's the Peale family plot. And I guess they own this entire plot here. And there's still people buried here. There was a lady buried here just last year. But that is Thomas Jefferson Peale, his wife, Annie Arnold Peale. He was a Confederate soldier. And just to the left of that is his son. And ever since then, they've got family members that have been buried here quite a bit here in this little Peale family cemetery. But I wanted to show this because it was attached to the old Montgomery Cemetery. Well, I didn't show every headstone here just because there's quite a few more, but I gave you a good selection of what's here. And you know, it's a great old cemetery. It's got a lot of shade, so it was nice and easy to walk around today in the Texas heat. Hope you enjoyed the tour. Not only has it got good history for cemetery history here, but the fact that the First Methodist Church here in Texas was on this location and is still in existence just down the road is really unique. I'll show you a picture here in a second, but hope you enjoyed the tour. Just another great little history here in Montgomery, Texas. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on Facebook. And until next time, have a good one.